Good day, everyone. So instead of reporting to you this presentation on personal, I decided to put it in YouTube instead. Uh, Report on Philippine exports by the course Environmental Analysis in a Philippine Business. This is Raymars Ihara for our professor, Dr. Elmer De Campo. So my report is about Philippine exports. Basically, this is all about uh, gauging the economic activity, um, uh, a critic on the NEDA strategies, and um, recommendations for improving our Philippine export industry. So, Philippine merchandise exports in November, they rallied to 19.7%. So that places the country on top of other East and Southeast Asian economies for the third time. So that was according to the National Economic and Development Authority. So data from the Philippine Statistics Authority also show that the country's total export earnings even reached 5.178 billion dollars in November 2014. That's higher than the previous year. So, if not for the global crisis, the last 5 years would have been a favorable period for exports. And the country's exports grew by an average of 10.65% from 2004 to 2007. It was supported by continued strong growth on global trade. The expected negative effect of the 9/11 terrorist attack, we all know that one in 2011, it was mitigated by the renewed confidence on safer trade as ensured by more stringent export regimes of the European Union and, of course, the United States.
Recent economic developments. As you can see here on the graph, we have the gross domestic product that shows it is been increasing over the years, even though back in 2008 we suffered from the global economic crisis, but we were able to weather that one out. Philippines is considered as a newly industrialized country which has been transitioning from one based on agriculture to one based more on services and manufacturing. Primary exports include semiconductors and electronic products. We have transport equipments, we have garments, copper products, petroleum products. Of course, we have coconut oil and fruits. Our major trading partners include the United States, we have Japan, China, Singapore, South Korea, and the Netherlands. We also have Hong Kong, Germany, Taiwan, and Thailand. The Philippines GDP advanced about 2.5% in the last quarter of 2014. So that is considered as the fastest expansion since the first quarter of 2013, when all the sectors of the economy grew. Simply speaking, as per the graph shows us, year on year, the economy advanced about 7% all in all. So this graph tells you about the Philippine exports progress since 2006, and export growth peaked in 2006 when exports surpassed the targets and grew by 18.3%. This was driven by the rising sales to the country's traditional trading partners, which is the US and Japan, as well as China, Netherlands, Germany, Singapore, Malaysia, and Korea. But this pace could not be sustained in the following years, owing to the slowdown in the U.S. market. Of course, we know that one. It even developed into global economic crisis, which also entails high production costs, particularly in energy and logistics. And we also have a strong peso that time. In the fourth quarter of 2008, the sector felt the effects of the global economic crisis, actually contracting by 2.19%. That was relative to 2007. And as the global recession dragged on in 2009, export value fell drastically, contracting by 16.1% compared to 2008. As I don't know if you can see here in the graph. But in 2010, however, exports began to rise again, surging ahead with two-digit growth rates in line with the expectations of global economic recovery. For 2010, merchandise exports amounted to 488.3 US billion dollars. That means growing 34.8% over exports in 2009. This was supported by increases in exports of manufactured goods and total agro-based products, both at about 36%. The country's top 10 export commodities also registered increases, particularly lana, coconut oil, communication and radar and semiconductor devices also registered increases. Exports registered positive growth with the recovery of the global trade. And I even started to invest that time in mutual funds. It also reflected the same way. So let's talk about that later. The industry sector grew about 3.6% faster than a revised 1.1% in the third quarter in 2014. The services sector expanded about 1.3% as compared to a revised 1.1% growth in the preceding quarter. Also, agriculture grew 6.6%, rebounding from a revised 3% decline in the third quarter. So, according to Deputy Director General and currently NEDA officer in charge, Emmanuel Isguera, this strong performance of the export sector during the period was largely driven by growth in manufactures, agro-based and mineral products. An increased demand for Philippine-made products by Taiwan, China, and the United States of America likewise boosted this expansion. The Philippine Statistics Authority noted that the positive growth was mainly brought about by the increase of 9 major commodities out of the top 10 commodities for the month, and these were coconut oil, cathodes, and sections of cathodes of refined copper. We have machinery and transport equipment, chemicals, wood crafts, and furniture, ignition wiring set and other wiring sets used in vehicles. You have aircrafts and ships, electronic products, articles of apparel and clothing accessories, and metal components. The movement of Philippine electronic export has followed the global trends. Electronic products still account for the bulk 61% of the Philippine merchandise exports. So as you can see here, the exports of goods accelerated. In the current quarter of 2014, the country's total export of goods increased by 15.9% from 6.2% in the same quarter of 2013. The growth in the total exports was fueled by the following commodities: semiconductors, 291% from negative 0.9%. Control instrumentation 71.3% from negative 13.4%. Coconut oil 190% from negative 51.6%. Metal components 17.6% from 20.6%. And ignition wiring sets 10.8% from 45.4%. Okay. Meanwhile, the following commodities pulled the total exports. We have tuna, negative 71% from positive 26.5. Sugar, negative 99% from 500 plus percent. Bananas, including plantains, um, fresh from negative 27.4% from 282%. Automotive electronics also registered negative 69.4% from 8%. And we have the electronic data processing negative 5.5% from 110.2%. On this graph shows exports of services. So we have exports of goods. We also have exports of services. You can see here the total, the land-based services, and the sea-based services. That's where we come in, seafarers. So exports of services, meanwhile, grew by 150% from US $4 billion in 2004 to 13.2 billion US dollars in 2010. Other business services, travel and computer and information services account for 48%, 21%, and 16% respectively of total service exports. Globally, the evolution in technology, prioritization of business strategies, migration, innovation and trends, environment consciousness, and value for money have influenced the emergence of technology-based sectors, strengthened hospitality services, and increased the capability for borderless transactions. Opportunities or outlook for the export sector. So ASEAN integration brings to the table opportunities that can help the country in achieving inclusive growth. Uh, the ASEAN Economic Community in 2015 have expected GDP of US 2.3 trillion dollars. We have nearly 620 million people. European Union's generalized scheme of preferences plus GSP plus. European Commission favorably endorsed Philippines application. So it means Philippine producers can now export more than 6,000 products to any of the 28 member countries of the European Union at zero tariff using the generalized system of preferences plus GSP plus. Products that may avail of the duty-free access include coconut and marine products, processed fruit, prepared food, animal and vegetable fats and oils, textiles, garments, headwear, footwear, furniture, umbrellas, and chemicals. The Philippines currently the only country in the ASEAN to be accepted in the scheme. Applied for the scheme last year and was accepted formally into the EU GSP Plus on December 19, 2014. So that's just recent. So basically, when you talk about GSP Plus, it is a special incentive trade arrangement for the implementation of 27 international conventions on labor and human rights, environmental protection, and good governance. So this comes in from this comes in the form of zero duties and offers a more generous scheme of preferences compared to the regular GSP. So, what can we benefit from the GSP Plus on the Philippines? So, Philippine exports to the EU is expected to increase within the first year of implementation of the GSP Plus scheme, as more products will be accorded zero duty. According to a study made by the Department of Trade and Industry, Philippine exports under GSP Plus will increase by 611.8 million euros during the first 3 years of availment. Strategies shall therefore be pursued to help raise the competitiveness of industry. So we have here improve business climate, accelerate trade promotions, productivity and innovative capacity increased, and of course market access expanded. So by improving the business environment, raising productivity and efficiency, and inculcating quality consciousness among manufacturers and producers to offer quality goods and services comparable with global brands, uh, it will really help raise the competitiveness of our export industry. And also, business competitiveness will be enhanced by improving governance, strengthening economic zones, and strengthening national brand identity or awareness. So, to increase productivity and efficiency, government shall focus interventions on key priority areas. Also provide firm level to support MSMEs, increase market access, expand industry cluster development, and intensify the culture of competitiveness. Proactive measures to empower consumers, promote competition, and enforce trade regulations shall also be pursued. Um, to improve our business climate, we need to streamline bureaucratic procedures. So that means we need to simplify export and import procedures and facilitation. So that includes standardized fees or costs and procedures in 27 out of the targeted 96 first-class municipalities with a regulatory simplification for local government. We have reduced processing time and steps to register businesses. So I even experienced this one personally when I filed our business permit in Ormoc City. So it took me like around I think less than an hour. Hmm, no, it was more than an hour. I couldn't really recall what because I was enjoying watching the Just for Laughs gags show. So half a day nahuman na ako ang business permit na pirmahan na sad nahimo ng na finalize na dayon to atong kuan business permit na ako. So here from 10 to 5 steps, from 1 to 3 months to 1 to 3 days in 1,202 of 1,634 LGUs under the streamlined business permit and licensing system. From 4 to 5 days to 30 minutes under the Philippine Business Registry. From 48 hours to 15 minutes under the enhanced business name registration system. So, the import and export documentation and clearance procedures will also be automated to improve efficiency, transparency, and of course, accountability. Unnecessary administrative and legal barriers can hamper semiconductor and electronic exports. That can hamper semiconductor and electronics exports will be dismantled. An electronic business facilitation platform will be developed to facilitate business matching and eventually export transactions. So, automatic na siya tanan. Manang mas dali. I think the only problem here is that when your employees, government employees, are quite, uh, old school, they may be um, they may be they will be having difficulty in trying to adapt the new system, especially trying to learn computer software when they are used to the system that they're being using for years and years. And another factors in improving our business climate is to institutionalize regulatory impact assessment across all government agencies. This offers the means to improve regulatory decision making and practice. Uh, it involves the systematic appraisal of the costs and benefits associated with a proposed new regulation, and evaluation of the performance of existing regulations. Regulatory impact assessment is a process that is part of the broader regulation making and review processes of the departments. The RIA process promotes assessments of the impacts of a regulation with proper methodology that includes cost benefit analysis and stakeholder consultation to ensure that the regulation is effective and efficient in achieving policy objectives while minimizing negative effects on stakeholders affected. Simply speaking, that a good regulation is fundamental to a well-functioning economy and society. It protects the community, business, and the environment. Conversely, regulation that is unnecessary or poorly designed can impose significant cost on business, community, and government through inefficiencies due to the time taken to understand, comply with, and enforce these regulations. This has the perverse result of lower efficiency and profits for business, higher prices for consumers, and greater administration costs for government. Another one would be to facilitate trade with national single window. So this is meant to increase transparency in cargo processing, provide a more accurate, timely, and cost-efficient exchange of trade information, also reduce customs operational costs, and streamline processing of import and export clearances and permits, and of course improve revenue collection. Also, accelerating infrastructure development. When we accelerate our infrastructure development, one of its outcome would be to improve performance of tourism, agriculture, and industries. Also, when you have good infrastructure, then access to goods and services will also be improved. That involves education, health, housing, and other social infrastructure. Um, Also, another outcome of a good infrastructure is that we will improve our environmental quality. It's also the same story uh, against climate change and natural disaster. So our infrastructure should be resilient to this one. We term that in Leyte as typhoon proof because our place is uh, mostly visited by is commonly visited by typhoons, strong typhoons, super typhoons. Also, our country is uh, um, uh, what you call this? Also experiences a lot of incidents of strong earthquakes. So, as we can also see now, if you refer to the NEDA report, our infrastructure budget is very very low, so we need to change that one, so in order to accelerate our infrastructure development. When you talk about efficiency in the business climate, there are also risks involved. One of that is political instability or economic crisis, especially with our country where graft and corruption is severe. Another one would be projects or programs are not implemented or not implemented on time. Uh, we commonly see this one with especially in the coming elections where the administration tries to finish up his project before the elections because he knows that the next administration that would be taking over would not continue his project. So that's the common scene here in the Philippines. And my brother also experienced that one. He took up nursing, but in college, but he was a scholar. It was a joint project of the Arroyo administration and the DBP, Developmental Bank of the Philippines. So almost everything was free. Free tuition, dormitory, uniform, books, materials, almost everything. He even have an allowance. So um, he was supposed to finish up his school, take up the board exams, work here in the Philippines for 2 years. After that, he would be sent to Australia. He would be the government would let him borrow 1 million pesos in transitioning from working here in the Philippines to Australia. He would be working there temporarily and part-time, also study part-time, so that eventually he will be absorbed and be working there in Australia. But unluckily, it was discontinued since uh, during his fourth year, during his final years in college, another administration took over and regretfully they discontinued the program. But luckily for him, the new administration let him finish his studies, even paid for his board exams. Of course, he passed. But the thing there is that he wasn't able to continue the program because of the different uh, administration. So another factor uh, about the risks behind this one is the delay in operationalization of Philippine Business Registry due to connectivity concerns. So this mainly point out to the connectivity issues, especially in the internet service providers here in the Philippines. It's not really that reliable. So if you will operate a system, a platform, an electronic, systematic, automated platform for Philippine Business Registry, you need to have a very, very reliable system. Since glitches um, can produce inefficiencies or delays or even errors in the transactions in this kind of platform. Another key in improving our system is to accelerate trade promotions. So as of September 2014, the Philippines has participated in 14 trade missions abroad during the year to promote exports and tourism. And there will be upcoming trade missions in India, France, South Korea, Indonesia, and Dubai. This table shows us the committed and indicative projects to address power shortage. So you can see here the number of projects of committed and indicative uh, that are committed or indicative. So the system peak demand of the country is expected to increase from 9,827 megawatts in 2005 to 14,000 plus in 2010 and 19,000 plus in 2014. So that means an average annual growth rate of about 7.6 within the planning horizon. So total electricity generation estimated to register an average annual growth rate of 7.7% within the 10-year planning period in support of projected electricity demand growth. Another key in increasing our exports is that our productivity and innovative capacity to be increased. So according to this table here, we have the growth drivers and examples of strategic plans or roadmaps. In manufacturing, we have the comprehensive national industrial strategy based on the industry roadmaps. So this will guide the development of the Philippine industries. These roadmaps would contain plans for various industries in view of the renewed optimism about the country's trade and investments performance in the global market. It also spells out opportunities and prepare the industries to attract investments and generate jobs. In the agro industry, we have the integrated coconut industry and poverty reduction roadmap. In tourism, we have the tourism development program, tourism cluster destinations, with IT or BPM, information technology and business processing management. We have the next wave cities. This next wave cities is a list of information communication technology hubs, ICT hubs, beyond Metro Manila, identified by the Department of Science and Technology and IBPAP based on a set of criteria such as worker supply, telecom infrastructure, and other factors needed to sustain the BPO industry. So we have the country's next wave cities enumerated. The one is Baguio, Davao, Dumaguete, Iloilo, Lipa, Metro Bulacan, Metro Cavite, Metro Laguna, Metro Naga, and Metro Rizal. So also, it also decongests people there in Metro Manila if we have this IT BPM next wave cities outside of Metro Manila. Logistics, we have the National Logistics Plan. Construction, we have the Core Infrastructure Investment Program. Another key in increasing exports under the productivity and innovative capacity increasing is to strengthen micro, small, and medium enterprises to provide them of technical assistance and continued implementation of their programs. So this small enterprise technology upgrading as program setup is a nationwide strategy to assist micro, small, and medium enterprises or communities in the countryside in enhancing their productivity and competitiveness through technological innovations and upgrading quality of products and processes and product development diversification. Another one, the Go Negosyo Act, seeks to strengthen MSMEs to create more job opportunities in the country. The basic policy of this Go Negosyo Act is to foster national development, promote inclusive growth, and reduce poverty by encouraging the establishment of micro, small, and medium enterprises that facilitate local job creation, production, and trade in the country. The SME Roving Academy is a continuous learning program for the development of MSME to become competitive in the domestic and international or global markets. Its main strategies contain integration of the business development services for SMEs at the national and local levels. It also establishes a provincial, regional, and national entrepreneurship development networks and management of an inclusive promotion program. SFF, Shared Services Facilities Project, aims to improve the competitiveness of MSMEs by providing them with machinery, equipment, tools, systems, skills, and knowledge under a shared system. This project is being implemented nationwide with project partners termed as cooperators, which may be any juridical entity such as, but not limited to, non-government organizations, people's organizations, cooperative, industry or trade business associations, local government units, LGUs, state universities or colleges, technical vocational schools, and other similar government and training institutions. So actually, we are also advocating this one with regards to our project of maritime high school. So basically, our group of investors, we will provide equipments like simulators, staff, lecturers, administrators to a certain established school that is approved by CHED. So we will coordinate with them so that in compliance with the new education system of the Philippines. So we will integrate this maritime high school, so we can even share our equipments, our human resource, and that includes our intellectual properties with several schools, and we're planning to have it first in Leyte. So that's one of the examples of shared services facilities. In order to for our productivity and innovative capacity to be increased, we also need to enhance our labor competencies, the labor force. So one is to pursue market driven education and training, another is to harness science, technology, and innovation, and to strengthen the industry academic collaboration. So we need to have a knowledge based economy and the competence based society closely integrated. The labor market change and the emerging competencies and skills should also be taken into account. Uh, Improving career and technical education to ensure basic competencies and skills in the Philippines. Also, uh, exchanging practice and responding common challenges in the APEC economy. So Philippines career and technical education are at 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 the a crossroad to adapt to the development of restructuring economy and a competence-based society. We would like to exchange and share ideas and experiences among APEC region and enhance citizens' competencies and skills to satisfy the progress of knowledge-based society. The move strengthens the link between the industry and the education sector to match the skills and knowledge of the workforce with the needs of the businesses. It is it is really evident in our country where we have a lot of graduates, very educated human resource, and then we don't have a matching job for them, or the demand for the course that they graduated in is very low. So we don't match the skills, we don't match the education with the current demand in of the skill of the industry, with the skills and knowledge that it needs. So it will if we will strengthen the industry academic collaboration, it will also enhance competitiveness by reshaping the education system to emphasize academic, technical, vocational, and, of course, entrepreneurial aptitude to create a versatile workforce for the industry and to ensure the continuous advancement of relevant knowledge and skills through a permanent industry education cooperation. So one of the key strategies in order to drive up the export industry is for the market access to be expanded. Uh, One is to maximize opportunities in regional and global integration. Another is to harmonize the national quality infrastructure with internationally accepted quality infrastructure. Because as we have seen in recent in history that our infrastructure in Philippines is not in line with internationally accepted quality infrastructure. Uh, we can see our roads. It's not as per standard, the thickness and maybe even the that ang timpla sa ato ang semento dili mao, nipis ra kayo ato ang mga kalsada manang dali ra kay mga buslot, and then ang pagkaplano, I've been in Leyte, and oh, the roads were really uh, liko sige liko murag yung sawa ngadto pag adto nako nagmotor mi di ko makapabulot og dagan kay daghan kay ang likoon, murag ang plano murag subay ra nila sa asay ganahan to isubay to nila tong paghimo og kalsada. So also there were frequent landslides, so there was no, really the planning was not that good when you take a look at the roads there. Also, another factor is to strengthen national brand awareness. The investment and export promotion brand development program will to be implemented to create a distinct Philippine brand that will be widely accepted and recognized in the global export market, connoting quality, value, and reliability. Through this project, the Philippines will be able to aggressively promote a unified branding that will advance the country's image as a producer and supplier of high quality, ethically produced, sustainable, and world-class products and services. The total investment targets for this project amount to 375 million pesos for the period 2013 to 2016. So, the Philippine Export Development Plan for 2014 and 2016 has 7-point agendas. So, one is remove all unnecessary regulatory impediments to movement of goods. Enhance domestic capacity to upgrade the quality and standards of exports. So, improve national quality infrastructure. Improve exporters' access to trade finance using aid for trade. Set up an export promotion fund to assist exporters. Strengthen the resource base of EMB as an export promotion agency. Improve the efficiency of the producer's services through regulatory reforms. And design and implement comprehensive packages of export support and promotion programs for select industries. Um, we also have comparative advantage areas with regards to our country. So we have the pool of skilled workers. Need to move up the value chain by greater use of high quality services. So in the Philippines, it is a country that has one of the biggest available pools of qualified workers. That's between the age 15 to 64 in the world. In absolute terms, which ranks 13th largest in the world behind countries like Vietnam, Japan, and Mexico. In 2010, its people qualified for work had reached 55.5 million. On its working age group's ratio to the country's total population, it ranks 147th at 61%, bordering the middle and bottom third of the world ranking by virtue of its relatively large population of elderly and children combined. With this large pool of available workers, the Philippines has more than 38 million people that belong to the labor force, which is one of the largest in the world, almost making it to the top 10, notwithstanding a relatively mediocre participation rate of 64.5%. So the labor force has consistently grown by an average 2% in the past 3 years. This labor force is dominated by people that have educational attainment below the tertiary level, which make up about 71%. So, out of this labor force, 36.2 million Filipinos are employed, and this number has been increasing by an average of more than 2% in the last 3 years. We also have an unemployment and underemployment issues. Uh, um, and this Most of these employed workers are in the field of services. That's 50%, followed by the agriculture 34%, and industry 15%, with the lowest share. There has been a considerable employment growth in each of the services and industry sector, about 4% since 2009, while employment in the agricultural sector has been fluctuating. A large portion of these employed workers are salary or wage workers, and then followed by self-employed people. Meanwhile, there are about 2.7 Filipinos that are unemployed, which constitutes about 7.4% of the labor force. This is the lowest rate the Philippines enjoyed since 1996, before the country suffered from the Asian financial crisis. After the unemployment rate peaked in 2000, it has been a steep decline by an average of 8.5% each year through 2010. So a large proportion uh, out of these unemployed workers, 88% is roughly split between people who at least had a high school or a college education. Uh, we all know that a large proportion of college graduates are nursing graduates, whose numbers now sum up to about 200,000, according to a report by the Philippine Nurses Association. As of 2001, it is estimated that about 7 million are underemployed. It went back up after it fell in 2010 at 6.5 million. Visibly underemployed people working less than 40 hours per week, cover 57%, while the rest is made up by underemployed people, those who work over 40 hours per week but wants more hours. So, as per Philippine Export Development Plan, we need to diversify export products and adapt to global demands. We need an intensified effort to diversify export products and markets through continued export promotion and market access initiatives. Um, Also, adding that the enhancement of the export assistance network can help provide startup support for more exporters and further ease export related procedures. Another one is to finalize comprehensive national industrial strategy, remove investment restrictions cited in the foreign investment negative list, address supply chain gaps and power costs, increase value added of exports. One is to make education or skills more industry appropriate. As we can see right now, we have plenty of graduates, very educated people, but no profession for them to apply their skills. There's no available industry to cater them. Uh, in fact, sa the profession of marine engineers and marine transportation graduates, no? Uh, Daghan kayo mga seaman karon nga nag security guard na lang kay dili man mahar, kay ingog, kay kulang man dili man mao nga skills or education ang gitudlo nila sa una. It's really evident right now, especially when I'm marinated with the maritime education right now. uh, Daghan kay ipagtudlo sa eskwelahan nga dili mao or dili unta dapat may itudlo or out of topic na kayo. We have this international seafarers training and certification in watchkeeping, na diha nakasulat ang amo ang standards of competencies, but actually the Philippine education did not follow the guidelines stipulated there. Naghimo sila gimuha ilaha murag sila mas maayo. So kabalo mga international company nga ana may regulation sa Pilipinas, so they are not confident to accept those license, even license nga maritime professionals nato kay kabalo man sila nga it is not in line with the international standards, no? So muna diha. Another is to strengthen manufacturing related services and also promote Philippines as a preferred tourist and IT BPM destination, especially for high value services. So, in summary, creating a long-term global strategy is a complicated but important task. As is evident throughout this report, no country is an economic island. No country is an economic island. Murag no man is an island ba? And the economy truly is global. Economy is truly global. A growing number of businesses have become true multinational firms with operating facilities around the world. They have figured out to mitigate their risks both politically and economically. But they have also found how events in one nation can reverberate around the world. So actually, right now, with this new strategy with companies, multinational firms, you can't really say that product is made in China, a product is made in the U.S., made in Germany, made in Philippines, because components like, for example, if you buy a laptop, okay, the screen might be made in Germany, the processor made in Korea, the hard disk made in Taiwan, the the motherboard is made in the Philippines. So actually, you can't really call it made in a certain country. You can call it made on Earth, right? So as U.S. businesses contemplate and engage in global expansion, there are endless opportunities, but also potential risks. The international market is also attracted to foreign firms. For an organization to be successful in today's global economy, its owners and stakeholders must look across borders and understand the global community. Finally, I have a question for you. What really is the Philippines' major export? Philippines major export. What really is the Philippines major export? So, we know that the Philippines is the number one labor exporting country in the world today. The Philippines is increasingly dependent on its workers not only finding employment abroad, but also propping up the domestic economy. So, we call them overseas Filipino workers. Philippine workers abroad, overseas Filipino workers or OFWs, contribute to a substantial 10% to the country's GDP. Imagine that. As of the first 5 months of 2013, the amount of money sent home by workers, mostly in the US and the Middle East, increased 5.3% during the period, registering a 5-month high of $1.867 billion. During the period, the US made was the top source for remittances, contributing to 43.9% of the total. Central bank data showed, but most Filipinos end up working in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, which contributed 8% of total remittances, is the top employer of male OFWs who find themselves in professional or skilled worker jobs such as machine operators or trade workers. Meanwhile, female OFWs are mainly employed in the UAE, where they work unskilled jobs such as caregivers. So, kita may number one producer ng tao. So, actually, we are, I think, 13th in the world population. And considering the area of the Philippines which is quite small, atong yuta, there is Pilipinas gamay, daghan kayong tao, and then walay trabaho, so, buhaton. Mugawas. No? Mugawas. Ningani sa among lugar, sa Maasin, we really don't have uh, what you call that, supporting industry sa amo, because before we have our abaca industry, it was really booming, but diseases came, uh, pests, so nalugi, daghan kayong nalugi ato nga negosyante. So karon walay trabaho ang tao, walay income ang maasin. Unsa may kasagaran katong tao? Moadto kag maasin, pagkandag kong balay, nindot kay mga balay. Dikot si pa. Mga ka, kisa may tag-iya na. Tuloray pwede ito bag na. Kisa tag-iya na. Kasi trabaho sa tag-iya na. Tuloray pwede ito bag. So, it's either seaman, ah, nag-abroad sa US ba or sa Middle East ba, or ang ikatulo, mga babae sagaran naka banaog pariner. O man mga naidag kong balay ngadto, seaman, abroad, asawa sa pariner, no? So, actually, no, what is happening is that our government is too focused on promoting labor export policies or policies that encourage Filipinos to work abroad instead of providing better job opportunities in the country. So I think to genuinely address the problem of forced migration, economic policies should focus on developing the national economy by advancing local industries, agriculture, and, of course, basic services. That's all. Thank you.